Hello and welcome back. I have gotten some work done between this episode and the last, and as you can see, there is a lot more mana being produced. I have a lot more flowers, and there is a lot of charcoal and stuff being worked on, and I even have done some work a little bit off to the side over there, you can see a bit, but I did actually have to end up upgrading my wood farm a little bit. So let's go over that just a smidge. So right here, you will notice, oop, that is actually not seeming to get that done. I might have too many on here. Each one of these should be handling 6 flowers. And I may have messed that up a little bit. We have tons of mana. These are almost completely filled, so it's about time I actually start doing something with it. This is very nice. I do have a coke oven to produce creosote stuff, or in this case, blocks of coal coke. I'm probably not going to use that over here because I think I lose efficiency. I'm not really sure, but I really only wanted it for the creosote oil, which I'll go over in just a little bit. But over here, I wanted to show the things that I needed to do. This little buffer, still not necessary. I could probably have put the weighted ejector right here and gotten the same result. But over here, I actually... Oh, my jetpack's off. I actually had some bottlenecking going on. So this guy right here, was originally an andesite funnel. And that was a problem because andesite funnels can only give and take one item at a time. So you'll notice these are all brass now. This now outputs everything at once. As it comes in, it just spits it out. If there's a stack of logs, it spits out the stack. But that's where these then started to bottle up. Because if a stack of saplings came out, it wouldn't make it into the correct barrel and would get stuck right here because I have a filter that only allows birch logs to go through. So it would get stuck, and then all the sticks and the apples would just make a whole line, and then nothing would go anywhere. But now, because they're brass, doesn't matter how big the stack is, it just slurps them right up. Then I had to remember to actually apply void upgrades to these, so now I'm just voiding away the sticks and the saplings, and eventually we'll be doing the same with the apples. So tons and tons of those. And over here, we now have these upgraded, also with void upgrades, but also... Let me take a look here. Check this out. I added Storage Upgrade 5. These are relatively cheap, just 2 emeralds, some sticks, and an upgrade template, which is just any of the drawers surrounded by sticks, so pretty cheap. And that is 32 times the base value. Now, the base value, if you didn't see over here, is 2.04 thousand, which means this can now hold over 64,000 of each one, and then it'll start to void away. So pretty cool stuff, lots and lots of storage, I love it. Now these guys, these are floating endo flames. They work exactly the same as a standard endo flame, except they can float. So pretty nice, pretty easy to make as well. You get any floating flower and an endo flame, and it just works. Now the thing is, in order to get the floating flower, if I can find one that's just a standard... There we go. Any of the colored flowers, just the standard ones, not the double high, just the standard height, and they need to be glimmering versions, which is you take the standard flower and you put 2 glowstone dust on it. And boom, you have your glimmering flower. You can combine that with a pasture seed and dirt. Pasture seed is just some grass you get from shears, tossed in a mana pool, you get those, so that's pretty cheap. And then you just have a bunch of endo flames. And then I tried pairing them up to where every 6 of these has 1 mana spreader, and going into this, and it is just... It's just going non-stop. I even still have a little bit of charcoal blocks backed up sometimes, not always, but sometimes, and it's insane. Now, I want to show you this over here. This is more or less a proof of concept. I wanted to make sure that I could get this built, and it's not going to be staying here. I will disassemble this at some point, but check this out. This is pretty cool. I built this on stream, so again, if you ever want to check out the things I'm doing between episodes, I do try to do a good bit of work on stream, even if it's not on camera necessarily for recording, it is on stream. So if you want to see what I look like and all that, then that's where you can go. There should be a link in the description, but this is what I'm using. So I'm using a garden cloche, which is what I needed the coke oven over there for, the creosote oil, in order to make the garden cloche. You get some dirt, feed in some water and some power, and then you put in a plant. I chose potato because it doesn't have any additional byproducts, and if you look over here, 1 potato equals 5 biofuel. So I have 3 of these going, so that means it should spit out 6. And then it'll get crushed into the biofuel. I made a crushing factory, so it does 3 units at a time. Here we go, here's some potatoes. So it'll do this, and it will create that biofuel that you just saw that runs down this path and into this pressurized reaction chamber, which I feed in some water and some hydrogen, which I have over here from an electrolytic separator. The water, of course, just like in the house, it looks a little funny, but it's being done with an electric pump. I don't have any upgrades on this, and it's constantly overflowing, so it doesn't pull that much power. It's doing pretty well. This creates oxygen and hydrogen, and I should probably start venting the excess of this maybe a little bit just to make sure that it stays... Well, actually, I probably don't need to do that. Let's just stick these to idle. There, and they'll just stay backed up. That way it stopped using too much power. But yeah, that takes the water, produces oxygen and hydrogen, as you can see in these pipes. The hydrogen's feeding into this reaction chamber, which is creating substrate out of the biofuel, and as you can see, it's getting backed up, so I could improve this system quite a bit. The substrate will go up through this logistical transporter, as you can see in here, and into another pressurized reaction chamber, which I'll bring up in just a sec. The byproduct of the substrate is ethylene in gaseous form. So you'll notice it's getting completely backed up. That's good. Sort of. So it's going to go into this rotary condensator, bit of a mouthful, and it converts the gaseous ethylene into liquid ethylene, and that is then sent with this mechanical pipe into the same pressurized reaction chamber, where the oxygen from before is also going. So in here, we are taking this liquid ethylene, and this oxygen, and the substrate, to produce HDPE pellets, which are then going through this logistical transporter and into this enriching factory. To make it a bit of a cheaper recipe. Because with HDPE pellets, there are two things that you can make. You can either make HDPE rods, which don't have a lot of use. You can make the pigment mixer, cool. Or you can make plastic, which is just sticks, but plastic. So I might make those at some point. Probably not. Maybe. We'll see. But the other thing is HDPE sheets. And you can either take 8 of them, 8 pellets, and make a HDPE sheet, or you can send them into an enrichment chamber and only need 3. So that's what I opted to do, and they're going up into this drawer, and I have almost 300 HDPE sheets. These are used for a lot of stuff. They're made for used for making plastic, which is great. It's a nice, very saturated building block. I'm sure plenty of people can find uses for that. But there's also things like the mecha suit that I'm going to need these for. And mecha suits are super powerful. They're also super expensive and late game. Polonium pellets are going to require polonium, which requires nuclear waste, which we make by using a fission reactor, which is going to be tons and tons of power, and I'm excited for all of that. But you'll notice that there's also more of this gaseous ethylene. This is going into a gas-burning generator, and it has been completely overfilled. I can actually throw down another one of these for more power, but this is already done. I made a new advanced energy cube, and it filled so fast, scary fast. And it's completely self-sufficient. This entire thing powers itself. I have this advanced universal cable. Probably don't even need this version. I can probably stick with a better or with the first tier, but I wanted to be safe. And that's running to power all of these things from that one gas-burning generator. And it is handling things very well. I can absolutely throw down 1 or 2 more gas-burning generators and just be good for having a decent amount of base power. Because compared to this over here, it's doing fantastic. I still haven't upgraded my mechanism power. Look at this. This is still producing only 27.05 FE per tick. And the solar panel only produces power during the day. And I think it does like, what, 50? So I can make like 70 FE per tick. That over there is making thousands. Thousands. The more gas is in the gas-burning generator, the more power it produces, because I believe it burns faster when there's more. And this is filled. I can't even see how much it's actually producing, because it's only producing what it needs, basically. So if I were to shut this off, so where it's not running anymore, and it slowly drains the power out of this, well, I guess first it'll be out of this, and then out of this, and then come back to it in several minutes, then sure, I can find out how much power it's producing at that point. But it's too efficient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this design and I'm going to move it somewhere. And that's going to get into the subject of moving. I've been living in this nice little house for quite a bit of time now, and I like it. It's nice and cozy, but it's a little too cozy, and it's a little too generated, right? I didn't build this. The only thing I did was I cut off the tree that was at the top of it. That's the only work that it... Oh, well, okay, I slightly refurbished the basement a little bit, but that's not really a lot of work, right? That's not me. That's not me building a base. But then we get into the other problem. I think like 5% of the population can't see things in my brain. If there is a design that wants to be made, I can't see it. It doesn't, I can't visualize stuff. It's very frustrating. So I can't look at this and think, oh, that would look Or I could make this thing, but then make all these changes and put it over in this area and do this. No, I have to look at something and then I can see how it can change. That is how my brain functions. And so I have to be honest with myself and recognize that I can't just up and make a big fancy base. I do have a design that I'm going to be putting into the world at some point. I'm going to call it my Blazing Powerhouse. I used a reference for that I found on the internet of an actual IRL factory and tried to base things off of that, but I really don't want to just constantly be copying IRL things, so at least not right now. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my roots, and I am going to go underground. I tend to do this in all of my Minecraft playthroughs. I always end up being a bit of a mole, and I gotta stick with it, at least for now. I might try to break out of it later, but right now I think that is gonna be what I do, is I'm gonna go underground, but it's not gonna just be, oh, I dug a hole and slapped some stuff in there. At least, I'll do my best. I promise I'll do my best to not do that. I'll do my best, but I'm gonna try. So I have this area already. I'm probably not gonna use this spot. This is just an area for a slime farm, and that's cool. I took out all those mana spreaders. I had like 56 of them. It felt very sad to take them all out. But what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to use create, and I'm going to make an elevator. And it's going to take me down into a nice big factory where I'm going to have a bunch of mechanism stuff, which then kind of leads into another subject. I mentioned I was going to make that big blazing powerhouse, and it's going to be a ton of stress units and power for create, and it's going to be super exciting. But I also really want to get into mechanism this playthrough, and I haven't done mechanism that much in a long time. I know most of this episode is me just chatting and talking and explaining what stuff is going to be happening. I might even make this like a 3.5 episode, so we'll see, just so that there's like a little bit of in between. Actually, I think that's exactly what I'll do. This will be 3.5, and then I'll do the real work in the next one. So you've seen this, you've seen that, and then we have ideas and plans. So that then leads back into how we're going to go from here. So I think going down, making a nice sprawling factory is going to be a really cool idea, and maybe not put it right here, maybe somewhere around here, but I don't want it to interfere with this hole, because if I do end up needing a slime farm, this will be great to use. But I want to keep my Botania stuff up top, and I think I want to keep at least some of my create stuff up top. We'll see, maybe I'll end up moving it down, but I at least want to build that blazing powerhouse. I think that'd be really cool. So we'll see how that goes. So I think that's good enough for an update. I've gone over my gas burning generator, what my plans are for that. I've gone over a bit of my plans in general for what I want to do, and we've gone over how my mana production is doing. So I think when I get into the real episode 4, oh, that kind of ran out a little bit, but that's all right. When I get into the real episode 4, I think it's going to be time to actually use this mana, because look at it, there's so much. We need Terra Steel. Terra Steel is a very important thing. That's how we're going to get to the Elven Gateway, because you need Terra Steel nuggets for that. And that's going to need this terrestrial agglomeration. God, that's a hard word for me for some reason. Agglomeration thing. So it's a little multi-block with this little doodad. It's going to need one of each of the basic runes, including a rune of mana, which I never made before. It's just a bunch of mana steel and a mana pearl. So you've seen the method before, not much of a change. And then a block of mana steel and some lapis. So a little expensive, but not too much. And then we'll start working into how to do mana steel, and I'll go over how all of that works when we get there. But check this out. This is good armor. I want to wear this. This is pretty neat. It requires runes. Okay, I didn't actually realize that. And then there's the Barrows Brothers stuff. So any RuneScape fans out there will recognize this as a direct reference for that, which is, I think, where the flasks and the vials and whatnot come from. But you got your Will of Guthin, Torag, Varrock, Darrock will be in there, Carol, Aram, there we go. And there's Darrock. And those do different things based on how they work in that game. So it's cool. But making the Terra Steel armor, I think, would be a really nice thing to do. I'll have to figure out how else to wear the jetpack, because I don't think you can wear it in any of the curio slots. Let's see, if I put that on there... No, I can't click that into any other slot. So I don't know how that's going to work, because I still want to use this. Oh, but wait a minute. There's that, There's a flight thing in Botania, isn't there? This guy. Yes. The Flugel Tiara. This dude, oh, that's expansive. As far as I'm aware, though, this basically gives you creative flight as long as you have mana in your tablet, which at this point shouldn't be a problem. This is expensive. Gaia Spirits, okay. All right, that's a goal. And also the Shard of Laputa, that would be another cool thing I'd like to do. Maybe do a big castle in the sky of some kind if I get to the point of building. I think that'd be neat. All right, but this has gotten a little bit rambly enough. This is like 15 minutes of me just talking straight. So yeah, episode 3.5, cool. This is gonna be what we do. So I hope this is enough catch up and explanation. I can't talk right now. It's still kind of, I'm still sleepy. An explanation of what my plans are for the coming future. So I would like to make the Blazing Powerhouse. It may or may not happen right away. If it does, it's probably going to be slapped somewhere right here, and I'll use that maybe to power the elevator and then other stuff. It'll be producing like 1 point something million stress units, something to that effect. And then I can use that to create iron and gold and sand and quartz. It's overwhelming. It's going to be a lot. It'll be a lot. I'll get to that at some point. But first I really want to get into mechanism. So, but then again, I need my iron. I do need lots and lots of iron. But I also need osmium, and Create doesn't help with osmium. We'll figure it out. I'm getting too rambly, so I'm just gonna go ahead and hop off. You'll have a great day. I will see you in episode 4, the real one. Oh, whoa. That's a little funny. I'll see you in the real episode 4. So have a great day. Smooches. Mwah. Have a good one. Bye-bye.